You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, I'm Russ RIesinger. Thanks for joining us for the MTN News at 9. Montana Governor Steve Bullock announced 2 new cases of coronavirus tonight, bringing the state's total number now to 12 infected residents. Those newest patients, a man in his 50s from Missoula County and a man in his 60s from Gallatin County. Missoula County now has 4 cases, while Gallatin County has seen 3. In Wyoming, the numbers are on the rise as well, with the total number of cases standing at 15. Billings restaurants are being forced to make some tough decisions as a result of the order from the health officer to close. Some are laying off staff and scrambling to create takeout menus. Q2's Mitch Legge checked out 2 restaurants that have been feeding Billings for decades to see how they're handling the COVID-19 response.
Here in Billings, bars, restaurants, casinos, and wineries have all been reeling from the decision from the Yellowstone County Health Officer to close for up to 1 week. Now, there is an exception to that order. Restaurants are still allowed to offer a takeout service, but the decision from the health officer came pretty suddenly and forced a lot of Billings restaurants to lay off a majority of their staff and left restaurants like Walker's forced to scramble to create a takeout menu.
I mean, there's so many restaurants that are, I don't know if they're going to make it through this, and I hope they all can. Running the show, there's about 3 of us, 5 of us that are going to be able to kind of keep things going, but I had to lay off upwards of 30 people today. Well, I've been in tears for the last 24 hours trying to figure out how to manage this and take care of everybody.
Starting Thursday, for the first time in decades, Walker's will offer a lunch service complete with curbside pickup and delivery.
We're doing takeout lunch, takeout dinner, and trying to get that out there so people have an option. You know, that's not just, McDonald's at this point with DoorDash. We want people to eat local and support local as much as they can.
Across the street at Jake's Downtown Steakhouse, owner Kathy Bolin is taking it day by day. Establishing a takeout service wasn't something her restaurant could do.
With the kind of food that we serve, and it's kind of hard to do takeout to make it profitable. I don't think people that are unemployed and stuff will want to spend that kind of money on food like that. So I don't know.
Jake's was supposed to receive a food delivery on Tuesday, but fortunately had time to cancel before it arrived. The leftover food at Jake's is going to employees, and Walker's is cooking free takeout meals for staff to help them through this troubled time. On the other side of this COVID-19 response, Walker's and Jake's would like to hire back as much of their staff as possible. In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Well, there will certainly be a time when the Billings community will need to support local businesses in full force. In the meantime, Walker's chef Nick Steen said a good way to help is to buy gift cards for future meals via their website. At Walker's, gift card sales will be used to help pay laid-off staff members. This week, Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton issued an order that temporarily closed all bars, brew pubs, wineries, and casinos. New guidelines and steps are now set in place for some establishments looking to reopen on March 24th. But right now, that's still up in the air whether that order will even be rescinded by then. At a news conference this morning, Felton said COVID-19 has changed the world we live in, and business as usual will not be usual for quite a while. This is why he released new and strict action plan for business owners to follow.
We've defined the plan. We're asking the owners or managers or operators, whoever's the person in charge, to agree to what's there. We leave it to them to decide how to implement it. And if we get called in to inspect or to check on it, the way we find out, do you have that plan, is you do things like you ask the workers, how often do you clean the table? What's your process for cleaning the gaming machines? It's trying to thread a very fine needle between having access to those kinds of services and those jobs and that business, and protecting the public's health at a very risky time.
Now, even if a business complies with everything in the guidelines to reopen, it doesn't mean they can until that order is lifted, which for the time being is scheduled for Tuesday, March 24th. The new guidelines list can be found on our website, ktvq.com. The coronavirus has many staying home from work or school, as they should be if possible. With higher electric bills and maybe less income, Northwestern Energy will help its customers. The company has decided to suspend service disconnections. A Northwestern spokesperson says energy usage increases when people are home, and some may have no work or fewer hours. The company also suggests using the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program and Montana Energy Share.
We're here more during the day, and Our families are home, students are home. We understand this will be a difficult time for many of us financially also, and we just really want people to reach out to us.
Many utility companies around the country have also decided to not disconnect customers during these times. If you're looking for some good news, we can tell you that gas prices across Billings fell below $2 a gallon today. Costco, Sam's Club, and some Cenex and holiday stores dropped their prices to as low as $1.95 a gallon. According to online gas tracker GasBuddy.com, Costco and Sam's Club have Billings' lowest prices at $1.95. Some holiday, Conoco, and Cenex stores dropped their price to $1.98. Unfortunately, pleasure at the pump translates into big worries in the oil industry. In North Dakota, home of the Bakken oil, Monday's price for North Dakota sweet crude had fallen to $18.50 per barrel, with the West Texas intermediate price down to $28.70. That compares to prices of around $50 per barrel at the start of the year. And the North Dakota Department of Mineral Resources monthly report out this week also hints at other factors that could spell tough times ahead in the oil patch. Department Director Lynn Helms warns that the industry projects a substantial reduction in rig count over the next 3 months due to dropping demand. Montana State University Billings was forced to make changes on the fly in response to the coronavirus. MTN Shaquille Cozart has more on how they're adjusting.
Montana State University Billings officially shut down all in-person classes on Monday. The shutdown was put into effect at noon, and all faculty, staff, and students have since switched to an online platform. We talked to the University Chancellor, Dr. Dan Edelman, and Director of Student Health Services, Darla Tyler McSherry, for more information on how the switch has affected faculty and students thus far.
We've been an online leader in the state for a number of years, so we've had a lot of experience at this. Some courses that were not online that transitioned to it, there's been a little bit of speed bumps, but overall it's working out rather well.
Director Tyler McSherry offered insight on the plan that the university has to prevent the spread of germs on campus.
Most meetings are going to WebEx or conference phones. When there are people meeting in places, we're encouraging social distancing. So I think MSU Billings is just really being a leader in the community, and under Chancellor Edelman's leadership, we are working so hard to make sure that we are doing what we can to help with this situation.
A few members of the MSUB softball team were self-quarantined for a possible exposure to the virus, but have since tested negative and have been released. Chancellor Edelman also quarantined himself after a possible exposure.
I attended the Board of Regents meeting, and there were 2 people that did test positive at the Board of Regents meeting. So I self-quarantined myself, as I should. I have 0 symptoms. I feel fine, except I have a bad case of cabin fever.
Both Chancellor Edelman and Director Tyler McSherry commended the efforts of the faculty and students for staying safe and embracing the switch to an online platform.
The one thing I do want to say is these are definitely trying times. I could not be more proud of the leadership that we have in place on campus. A person like Darla, Maureen, they're doing a fantastic job. Their provost, everybody's stepped up to the plate. They're not panicking. They're leading by example, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
In Billings, Shaquille Cozart, MTN News.
And both City College buildings have been closed as well. Edelman says that decision will help save some state resources. Billings Public Schools are trying to ramp up off-site learning options for all students. Elementary families will be contacted by the school. Middle and high school families will be contacted by email. School Superintendent Greg Upham says the board continues to meet to discuss more options.
I do want to share and reiterate how important it is to think in the 3 tiers that I've outlined for our district and the community. Tier 1 would be the 2 weeks that the governor has closed us, if you will. Tier 2 is out a month, and Tier 3 would be for the remainder of the school year. So we're looking at all 3 of those right now and planning for whatever comes our way.
The coronavirus precautions and impacts have landed at Billings Logan International Airport as the nation's top airlines announced sweeping changes to their future flight schedules today. Those reductions will be felt locally as well. Airport Director of Aviation and Transit Kevin Plone says flights across the board have not yet been canceled, but planes in Billings are taking off and landing only about 20% to 30% full. Travelers will likely see flights cut 20 to 25% next month and 50% come May and June. Airlines are revamping flight schedules as of April 1st, so Plone says passengers with flights after that date will likely be called to rebook. As for the impact on the Billings airport, Plone says the last 10 days have certainly not been good. He says $4 million of the airport's yearly revenue comes from parking and car rentals, and that's been cut in half. Once the flight changes are made, landing fees will potentially be cut in half as well. Well, still to come on tonight's 9 o'clock news, find out why one Billings resident is all smiles. Plus the importance of people helping people by giving blood. Those stories coming right up.